All right, maybe seated. Maybe seated. Seated. All right, so welcome to the first in our series. And today, what they asked me to speak on, based on their research, is living a life of purpose while single, while you position yourself for marriage. Is that correct? You didn't know the topic? Oh, you didn't? All right, so living a life of purpose while you are single, while you position yourself, all right, for marriage. All right. Father, in the name of Jesus, we thank you for the gathering of your people. Thank you for the destinies that you have placed within this room. I ask by the power of your Spirit to grant utterance to speak into those destinies, that grace will be ministered into their hearts, light will shine on their path, and they will receive direction for their lives. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. All right, I think it's a very, very good topic, all right? Living a life of purpose while you are single, and then positioning yourself for marriage. Now, sometimes we use words that we may not. It's always important to define those words so that it's clear. So when we talk about positioning for marriage, I actually like it. That's why I want to define it. It means to put or to arrange in a certain way. To put in a particular way, to promote, or to make it visible unto others. In other words, you are living a purposeful life as a single, but then you are being made visible to the right people, all right, whom will want, all right, you like to get married to, in other words, for marriage. You are making yourself visible as a candidate or person for marriage. In other words, Matthew chapter 5 and verse 14 tells us that you don't light a candle and put it, Matthew 15, please, and Matthew 5, verse 14. All right, you don't light a candle and put, okay, you didn't put it here. All right, neither do men light a candle and put it on a bushel, but on a candlestick to give light unto all those that are in the house. In other words, there's right positioning. So a candle can be lit, but if I place that candle under the table or under a bushel, or it is covered, right, then it doesn't give light. But you position it correctly on a candlestick so that all that are in that house, all right, have that light radiating to them. So positioning yourself for marriage is like being taken under, they will say somebody's tie is covered. You know when this is, you understand when they say, that somebody can actually, let me tell you this, be a very good person, so to speak, a right material for marriage, but as it were, they are covered. In other words, they are not visible to the people that will respond to them. So he goes on to tell us how to get uncovered. I will talk about this. It says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify the Father. So I want to talk about 4 good works. Before I will talk about living as Paul, but 4 good works every single person should cultivate if you intend to get married, that will bring the right person into your space. 4 good works, or 5, that you should cultivate, right, as a person. And many people on this earth don't know these. That these things are probably the most attractive and compelling things. As you position yourself for that, living the life. So you understand, I'm being very clear here, that you live your life purposefully as a single, knowing that you are putting out there the very things as you live your life as being a single that will bring the right person your way if you so choose, all right, to get married. You know, when I was in school, I had a very good friend. And we're in a mixed school. So he was dating this girl when we were in school, and he told me something. I think they broke up. He said to me, he said, this girl will not have difficulty at all in getting married. This is when we were teenagers. He said, won't have difficulty at all getting married in future. And she wasn't that. She wasn't the finest of the people inside the class or the most physically attractive. He said, but there is something about this girl, all right, that just will draw in that person. Now, much later, he got married to somebody else. She married, all right, somebody else. That, all right, they went two different paths. While she was on youth corps, she met this person, and she got married to this person. And he got married. And he told me, all right, just told me, he said, listen, he said, if I had married that girl there, that time, he said, my life won't be the way it is. He said, there's something about her that she would have made my life better. And I kept it in my mind. And, I mean, he told me this thing, maybe first time he told me was probably 1984. So I'm talking about many years ago. So I kept in my mind because I knew her. We're classmates. And I know who she got married to. The day I think they wanted to celebrate either I don't know how many years of marriage or the guy was a certain age. This guy she married. And I remember what that guy said. The husband came before the entire church and knelt down. Now, she married somebody else, so, but to say what that guy was saying, I want to show something here, was true. The guy knelt down, and he's a big guy. And big guy and says he's known, well known. And he knelt down and said, all I want to do, was almost in tears, is help me thank this woman. That you don't understand, all right, what I'm saying without her. And I just remembered what the guy told me in school about her personality and about her being. So I'm going to be very practical about this when I talk about the works that will bring that in. 1 Timothy chapter 5, I'll be quoting scripture, but it's going to be very practical. 5 and verse 25, Paul spoke about it. He said, likewise also good works, the good works of some, it says, are manifest beforehand, and they that are otherwise cannot be hid. All right, so there are works that are manifest that, bring a person and make you visible. So I want to talk about positioning yourself, all right, that way. It's the first time in my life I'm going to teach this in my entire life. All right? I'm telling you what I'm telling you, it's the first time in my life. Okay? Positioning yourself for that. And you will see it will be very clear, all right, to you as a person. Now, let's read from 1 Corinthians. Let me first touch on, all right, living a purposeful life. Because, let me tell you this, a successful single is better than a bad marriage. Do you get what I'm saying here? It is like boiling an egg and eating it as an egg that is good, you will have eaten an egg. If you now say you want to make an omelette and you take a bad egg and put it to mix, the whole thing is now what? Bad. Are you following what I'm saying here? So a purposeful and a single life there, all right, that is, all right, is better than, all right, a bad marriage. Okay? Now, 1 Corinthians 7, verse 31 to 35. This is the purpose, message translation, I said, please. All right, this is the purpose of single, all right. All right, next verse. Okay. I want you to live as free of complications as possible when you are unmarried, that you are single. You are free to concentrate on simply pleasing the master. Verse 33. Marriage involves you in all the nuts and bolts of domestic life and in wanting to please your spouse, leading to so many more demands on your attention. The time and energy that married people spend on caring for and nurturing one another, the unmarried can spend in becoming holy instruments of God. 35. I'm trying to be helpful and make it easy as possible for you, not to make things harder. All I want is for you to be able to develop a way of life in which you can spend plenty of time together with the master without a lot of distraction. So it's saying something very powerful here. Because you're all single, so I'm just plain here. All right? The whole essence, and you'll see that he's saying as a single person, you have time. Now, you will get married if you choose to get married. I'll show you, you will get married. So don't, you will get married. Don't say, when I'm perfect singleness, maybe then, let me not perfect it, or let me just be waiting, all right, to get married there. And I'll show you here. Okay? So, well, okay. Everything is governed by laws in life. Everything is governed by laws. Once you understand the laws, it's when you don't understand the laws, life is difficult and hard, and you are struggling. All right, so it says a single person has time. Now, the whole essence of your single life, or purpose of that period, as a Christian, is to push, all right, to the point where, as a person, you have discovered, you've come into what is called self-awareness in God. In other words, you have the path of your life clear unto you as a person. You have entered into what I will call, right, covenant, or a covenant, right, with God. That is, you understand your purpose and who you really are. Knowing the basic thrust of your life and the direction in which you are headed. And that you lay a foundation for yourself. And that's what I said here. So that when you get married, that momentum, right, is already there within your life. That's where you can develop the right spiritual habits, cultivate them, you have time. You can have an established, all right, prayer life and all of that, and spend time fellowshipping with God and discover, at least to some measure, the direction in which, all right, you are going. Because here is the truth. You can never be completely happy and fulfilled, all right, inside a marriage if your own person is compromised for that marriage to seemingly work. In other words, if you have to undermine, all right, yourself totally, if you have to give up on all of the dreams that God has placed on the inside of you. God created you for a purpose. He put certain things on the inside of you. And it's not his intention that you come, all right, into relationship with any other person at the expense, all right, of what or who he has made you to be. It is for the enhancement, right, of that particular thing. But you as a person, you must know, all right, who you really are. And you must have discovered that in some measure as a person. So as a single person, your real goal is to discover and get on the trajectory of your purpose in life. In other words, you have time to spend time in prayer. All right, you can, just because I know you can devote time to prayer. They are praying, all right, about your future, praying about things. You have endless time. I mean, you can regulate it on scriptures and most importantly also in the service of God. That's what he's saying here. That is the biggest workforce of the Church of Jesus should really be singles there. And people that way. In fact, I mean, I told them, and let me say this, it was while I was there, so I was going to say this. All right, I mean, I'm going to announce this on next Saturday. All right, and from then I've told some of the leaders of the church, that look, we are going to start deliberately and consciously recruiting from now on, after next year, WAFBEC, I probably will not ordain any person, all right, into leadership in the ministry except you are under 40. And I will be dropping the age as the years go by. Because it is time for young people, you follow what I'm saying here, to enter, all right, into things and start, all right? You should not be spectators again. You are supposed to be leaders, all right? We plan on having 30 campuses throughout the city of Lagos. I think just 1 or 2 again will be regular churches. After that, there will be what we call youth churches, all right, which will be young people, because that's where you are supposed to enter, at least touch some things, all right, there. You know, before I got my one time, because, I mean, natural experience, you got my late. But I remember I saw my pastor in the airport. He looked at me and said, He just looked at me and said, and he speaks, I mean, he comes, speaks Queen's English. He's a well-spoken man. He hardly speaks Yoruba. Hardly. I've never heard him. In fact, he told me, he just said, look. He said, the reason why people make mistakes in marriage, he said, I'll tell you in Yoruba, then I will translate it. He said, and that's the first time I saw that scripture. He said, in other words, literally it means person you are going to, who is going to be a sham, when the person is young, will already have been saying, sham. Are you following what I'm saying here? In other words, don't ever think you can make somebody something when married that they haven't shown the signs as single. All right? It is deception to think marriage will convert somebody. Are you following what I'm saying here? And it's a major mistake. When I marry that person, don't worry about it, I will change. You can't change somebody. Because in fact, what that person thinks at the back of their mind is that, you saw me the way I am now, you married me. So you don't want to get married. I told me to any person here that you have to radically change her for ministry. In other words, don't you know that you're a pastor's wife? This is the way you're supposed to dress. This is the way you're supposed to. I don't think in my entire life I have ever told my wife, change this thing you are wearing. In fact, I even think I'm the one that is more on the, right? That is, 2 people can't be like me in the house. Okay. So I want you to understand that there are many things you will have to change when you get married. You adjust to with your partner. But there is something about you that cannot be compromised. That thing must be known, and that thing is a non-negotiable there, which means we can't negotiate on that thing at the door in which we want to get married. And it is something as a single person in pursuing your purpose in God, you should discover. Let me give the example of this. When Abraham was sending out his servant, all right, and this is where I start explaining the nitty-gritty of things. Sending out his servant in Genesis 24, verse 7 to verse 9. Okay, sending out his servant, Genesis 24, verse 7. All right, he wanted to go and look for a wife for his son. And he prayed unto God and told him that an angel will go before him and make his way prosperous. And understand this in God. There's an angel you can ask God for to assist you on this earth, and it grants it to you, and you need to pray this early enough within your life to assist you and guide you correctly, all right, in terms of making the decision. So he said something I want us to understand. There are 2 things I want to bring out here. The Lord God of heaven, which took me from my father's house and from the land of my kindred, which spoke unto me, and that swore unto me, saying, unto thy seed will I give this land. He shall send his angel before thee. So he was sending out his servant, but he was conscious about the spiritual part. That he will first of all send an angel before you as you go. And thou shalt take a wife unto my son from thence. And he told him where he should go and take him a wife or a partner. And then the servant said, but if the woman is not willing to follow me, then thou shalt be clear from this oath, only not bring my son, all right, thither again. In other words, next verse, and the servant put his hand under the thigh of Abraham and swore concerning that matter. There was a matter that Abraham said you have to swear concerning. He said, God told me to leave my father's house and go to this land he will give unto me. Now, We are going back to that place to go and get the right person for, for my son. However, if the woman says that my son has to come and meet her here, that she cannot come to that land, he said, only on this issue here, you are resolved from this oath, because this is a non-negotiable issue here when it comes to non-negotiable. This is a commandment that I have received, of the Lord. And so, as a single person, you get into your purpose there. There is something about you. God will say you can eat of any tree of the garden, but this one, you cannot eat of it. There is something that is non-negotiable about you as a person that you are going to be, in your life there, and you need to discover that. Because, you can't be lucky where in marriage you discovered it, and the person you got married to, was okay with that. But, to be on the safe side, you discover that particular thing, and you want to push into it, and know that this is my purpose, and I am not compromising on this particular purpose. Now, why did Abraham tell him to go back to the very place where he came out of to look for a wife? It's a principle about selection of mate. That's why, people like Indians, you will see them, even Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of England, Prime Minister, I don't think he saw his wife and chased his wife. His parents that will look for somebody and say, this person fits you. And parents will go and bring somebody that you haven't seen before. And they'll say, this one will be good for my child. This one will be good for my child. And then they meet, and you will see. These are very successful people. You are talking about investment bankers in London. You meet with them. So how do you marry? You say, my parents brought, and all of that. Now, we may think that, we are more woke than all of that. But there is a principle behind it. The principle is a principle of the most successful marriages are the ones where you find the greatest similarities between the people. Listen, opposites attract in relationship, but repel when they get into marriage. You may not find it very attractive, but when you get married, it was good. If somebody is quiet and you talk a lot, and you say, he's a very quiet guy, it looks very nice. How's that? Quiet. Doesn't shout, quiet. Until only both of you are in the house. Then you are now talking to yourself. Then you will understand that this quietness, are you following what I'm saying here? Now, if both of them don't talk too much, then it's okay. But if one wants to be talking and he's not getting that energy, then he starts going outside to get the energy. Are you following what I'm saying here? All right? So, similarities there in it, the way in which you see the world, the values that you share. When the scripture says you cannot be unequally yoked, it's not even just talking about, we just say Christian and unbeliever, Christian and unbeliever. It's much deeper than that. Because the way and manner in which you both also pray, that's why I tell people that, listen, some pastors say it, I don't say it, I've never said it, but I understand where they are coming from when they say it. When they will say that, no, you marry somebody inside the church, what they are trying to say is not necessarily church. What they are trying to say is that marry somebody where you share the same spiritual values. Because if the way you pray is different, it can be a problem. If somebody feels that you get married and someone just comes and says that it is the witches in your family that are causing my problem, while you are saying we should draw out confession and begin to declare the word of God, that's a serious problem now. You are not unequally yoked. You are unequally yoked. Two cannot work together except they are agreed. All right? For example, this happens. What if somebody comes from a spiritual background where they have a prophet and they don't make decisions without clearance from the prophet? You now come out and say intellectually, this is school that children should go to, and now one says, listen to me, I've gone to ask the prophet. The prophet said. Are you following me? Now, what I'm trying to tell you is that I'm not saying the prophet said is wrong, but the prophet said should marry the prophet said. So both of you in your house will be saying the prophet said. Prophet versus prophet. You settle your problem on superiority of prophet. But you both understand, that's what I'm trying to say. That is, a size 12 shirt is perfect. But if somebody is size 6, a size 12 is oversized. If somebody is size 16, a size 12 shirt is too tight. There is nothing wrong with a size 12 shirt. But if you're a size 16, it is not for you, it is for somebody else. Do you get what I'm saying here? So people are not necessarily bad, but the question is, do they do what? Fit. Now, when you want to force that particular thing, is where the problem begins, all right, to come. So he was telling him, all right, that particular thing there. So every similarity between you and a person, your interest, similarity in interest is an asset. Every difference, and you will have areas where you differ, but understand this, every similarity is an asset or a deposit into your bank. Every difference is a withdrawal on the bank. Now, if the bank manager calls you and says that you are in debt to 100,000, it means you have made more withdrawals than what? Deposits. So you have to go and work harder to make sure that this thing balances. Do you get what I'm saying here? So a relationship where the differences are too many there, then people have to work extra hard to make those deposits to try to match up with it. All right? Some other time we'll talk about the areas where you identify for in terms of, for example, there are certain things that cannot change. All right, let me just give you this here. Intellectually, if you are both on two intellectual pains, there's no point. Just go, as you start talking like this, just say it's over. Because if you are explaining something and someone say, well, what do you say? I'm trying to tell that what happened here is that we say, Are you folks? It's okay, don't worry about that. Don't worry. All right. Hey, what about this one? All right? There are actual places of difference and compatibility we can go into that will highlight to you so that you quickly know. But my topic is positioning. So let me go back to positioning, which is very good. All right, this positioning here. So research findings. For example, there are people that come from, like somebody asked me in the last singles I did, and I thought about it, can an older woman marry a younger guy? And they asked. And I remember first single I ever did, maybe like 2009. Somebody asked it, and somebody was a leader in church, and I didn't want to embarrass because I didn't want to contradict him being a leader. But he got to me and said, no, it can't work. An older woman can marry a younger man. Our culture will not agree for it, will not. But the truth about the matter, I told them, listen, the street I lived on, I remember very well, the house after us, the woman was older than her husband by 2 years. That way again, I heard gist when my parents talk, when they would say gist, was older. Very successful people. The woman was one of the most successful, any lawyer knows her. And the husband was a neurosurgeon, a professor. They were very successful and happy together. But here is the point. If you have never seen it, witnessed it, experienced it, where from your own background, all right, the man, all the people you know, the men are 7, 6, 10 years older, and they use age as a way of asserting themselves, you don't know it, then stay with what you know. Are you following what I'm saying here? Because if the lady says what another normal lady will say, please, could you pass me that thing? Say, it has come to that now. All right? Or in terms of earning, if a woman earns more than a man, is it possible? I have a relationship that can work. I know somebody who used to be my father of my very good friend. He was a lecturer at university. His wife was doing very well in what she was doing. He would come to teach in class. He would be writing on the board. He would turn around. Boom. If you people don't listen to me. Boom. My wife is a rich woman. I don't have to work here. Boom. This is for real. Boom. If you want here, if you don't want, don't here. Boom. All right? And he'll be boasting to his students about the wealth of his wife. That I can go home now. But there are people that have grown up using money as a tool of authority. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, if you tell a woman, now that kind of person, if the woman comes and says normally, that, no, I think these children should go to this school, and the school is 2 million per term. Now, if she wasn't paying, or she didn't have the money, and she suggested, the man would say, okay, let's see what we do. But because she has money, say, that is why. You want to disgrace me in this house. So what I'm trying to say is that there are a lot of problems that come as a result. Are you following what I'm saying here? Of if it doesn't fit there, then you are quit. Okay, so that's one of the principles here. Now, but there's something else. Now, if your major issue is not compromised, and that major thing I'm saying that you discovered as a single is not compromised, and I'm going to talk about one of the qualities that actually, which is called adaptability, which is one of the qualities that, attractive qualities, which causes your light, all right, to shine. Okay? It's not with makeup they marry you. Do you get what I'm saying? Huh? That's why it says an adorning of the inward man of the heart. There is a type of way you can be as a man and as a woman that you are attractive. That is, you are in a good space. You are well positioned as a person, all right, to do that. So research findings are highly consistent on this, that the most stable marriages or relationships are those involving two people with many similarities. Several studies also show not only the occurrence of relationships, but also the degree of happiness and stability can be predicted at the door. If you take them through a similarity test, which means you take them through questions to find out what their worldview, what their viewpoint is, whatever it is, how they see things, how they see the world, how they interpret things, and you find similarities among these people, you can predict, all right, or okay, how happy they will be, right, within that particular marriage there. All right, so spiritually speaking, a person can be covered, and then a person can be positioned, all right, for marriage. Now, the covering here it's that to cover means the person is not visible, and we meet many people that are good people, that probably have made very good homes, but and sometimes people are covered. They are just not, all right, visible there to it. All right. So the first quality, I'll talk about 5 distinct works. The first one, and let me tell you, this is what I'm saying in facts, is kindness. Empathy for others. See, kindness and empathy for other people. In the last previous government here, this one here in this state, one of the strongest people in the government used to come to this church. He was a deacon here. How did he get married? Or how did he see his wife? It was a birthday of mine. They were celebrating it in the house. So it was my birthday, so we just went out for lunch there. Now, this lady happened to be, that he got married to, happened to be a niece. So she was staying with her cousin and her aunt. And her own mother had separated from her father, and the mother had married somebody else. She was the only child from that union. So she was moving around, and the mother had traveled. So she was moving around houses. So they almost reduced her to almost like a house help there. But she started coming to our campus fellowship before we started church. Well, to cut long story short, so they did this, and the lady, so what used to happen was that she will cook. This lady will cook in the kitchen, give it to her cousin will come and serve it. She will cook in the kitchen, all right, she wasn't, and cousin will come and serve it. On this day, right, because it was a party, she just took it and started serving. And when she got to this guy, she did something. I'm telling you, the guy just looked at his friend. And this was his words, Pali, I think this is the person I've been looking for. It was just something she did. I'm saying that an act of kindness and empathy, just something she did. that showed that this person has empathy, this person is kind, all right? And we'll see it here. And we'll see it, that's what Abraham, when he sent his servant was looking for. What the servant said was, "It's not the person who gives me water. It's the person who, after gives me water, looks at the camels and say, 'Can I give water, all right, to the camels there?'" So it's like a person there. Let's just give an example. You take somebody, all right, let's just say out on a date. All right? And I mean, it's clear. As the waiter is coming, a person, "Oh, how are you?" You know, of course, you are putting up best for that person. Let's sit down. But when the waiters are coming, "Please, will you come here? Come here. Look at what people say in restaurant. You are cooking. And we're paying 32,000. Look, you should know what you are going to meet inside the house." You know that? All right? Those are signs, all right, that begin to show. Now, those things release something that make you unattractive. Do you get what I'm saying? It's a very unattractive thing. An unkind person who is self-centered, very unattractive. Once that thing comes out there, now, can you imagine a case where something poured, and let's even say it's a lady now, gets up and helps the person, says, "Don't worry, let me clean it for you. Don't worry about that. I'll clean it off your son." I said, "No, I'm the one supposed to." The person knows that this is how this person is. The person sees kindness. Kindness in itself, all right, is light. It radiates something. All right? Empathy for other people. There's a chap, a friend of mine, he was dating a lady. I mean, it was my friend. The lady came to meet me and told me, because I was president of fellowship, that she likes him in the fellowship, but she's giving him vibes. It's not, so I told him that this girl said he likes him. Well, they started dating, but she showed him what young people would call shege. She showed him, okay? So she now came to meet me and said, "Look, we're close to you in the fellowship. We want to break up. And I don't want you to be embarrassed, because if they're embarrassed, so your friends in the fellowship see them breaking up." So I said, "You can break up and all of that." And, well, to cut the long story short, he now started chasing this other lady in the fellowship. We'll take her out. So he will drive. One day his tire burst. The lady, as tire burst, she just looks around. "You are not going to embarrass me and affect my PR here." She just got into another car and left. Left him changing the tire. And this girl was very fine girl. Very, very fine. Was changing the tire. I'm telling you, she was very fine, changing the tire. So, when you're trying to do that thing, you'll be struggling, trying to reach what God didn't give you. You get what I'm saying? So he took out this other lady he met. We had started church then, so he just took her out. He called me next day. He said, "Pastor," I said, "What happened?" He said, "I found my wife." I said, "Why?" He said, "It is now I know the difference. It's now I know love, what true love. I have never experienced it in my life." I said, "What happened?" He said, "My tire burst again." He said, "I entered into a panic mode. I just told her, 'Look, we're close to your house. Look, just go to your house. Don't worry, I'll fix it.' Because that same thing came back. I'll fix it." He said, that was it. So he said, I started fixing the tire. He said, after some time, I started hearing footsteps. Bam, bam, bam. True story. Bam, 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 bam. He said, I looked up. It was her. He said, "What's the problem?" At night. He said, "I just felt that maybe you need a sandwich and a drink since you are here trying to fix. So when I got home, I made a sandwich for you, got drinks for you, and I came back." That was the day he married. And physically speaking, that one wasn't as attractive as this one. This one was drop dead. But he was thanking God. He didn't enter the wrong. Are you following what I'm saying? Kindness. Now, how do you develop kindness if you know you are not kind? Because, let me be very practical here, because you may not be kind. And this kindness thing, you can't fake it. You can't fake kindness. Because you can't say, "Oh yeah," or else it will be a burden to you. "Oh yeah, I've done it now." Well, Pastor, but you say we should be kind. The kindness now. You can't fake it. Kindness is empathy, and if you are, say, like self-centered, all right? So what I would suggest you should do is to take time. Now, this is part of positioning yourself. I'm telling you, if you know, the Bible says, if these things be in you and abound, they shall make you that you are neither fruitful, and a door will be opened. I'm saying if these qualities are in you and abound, I am telling you, if you say that in 2 years' time I'm married, you'll be married. If say in 1 year I'll be married, you'll be married. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Hear me well, oh. Now, what you decide to do to break yourself down is just take your time and say, for the next 3 months, every Saturday, I'll go, all right, to the less privileged. Sit down there. If it's elderly people's home or this, and start taking care of them voluntarily. Well, when they are dripping like this, you take something. You know, you're from there. You don't like that one. You clean. Now, what that does is that you start breaking yourself down. By going into that kind of service, start breaking yourself. What happens is that it becomes part and parcel of your culture, your DNA. It enters into it. And you won't know that when you as a person, also for a guy who is not kind will be a narcissist there. And when that person is like that, that's the worst type of person to marry. We'll get to it. That person will not even listen to your advice. They won't even consider your opinion to be worth, no matter, you can have any degree in this world, they won't consider it. So develop empathy for people there and kindness there. The second one is adaptability, all right? So we've talked about the fact you have your core issue, but then you have got to be adaptable because, look, you can't even be happy without being adaptable. Things change. You see, if you are in a relation with somebody, all the changes that happen in the life of that person, you are the first person to experience it. If they change physically, you are inside the house with them. And people can change physically. So you have got to understand that if you're married, if you see her, figure eight. If you say, look, you don't know what can happen in 10 years, 7 years. Things can change. So you have to be adaptable. Are you following what I'm saying here? You don't know what can happen. God forbid, a person can be ill for 2 years and you didn't plan on that. When you said, if they say somebody, and you have to be winning the person and doing things, so you've got to be an adaptable person. He can tell you he wants to run for office. You that you're a quiet introvert, they now say you have to carry microphone and be dancing with market women. I mean, it says, but why I married you, this is my vision. You that you are quiet, you have to, hey, come here. So you have to be adaptable. All right? Which means do that. There are many people who are living in Canada today who didn't think they'll be in Canada 3 years ago. And living in Canada is totally different. In fact, let me tell you, the divorce rate of Nigerians that are relocating to Canada, it is alarming. When I went the last time, the guy driving said, Pastor, you don't understand. Said, somebody was supposed to come for this, we had to go and attend. The divorce rate is alarming. We explain why. Why this? It's not like it doesn't. It's because people didn't develop the qualities here of adaptability right before they go. Because when you leave a system, you have a support structure. You have parents around you that may be creating support. You may have friends. That guy could maybe go out. I mean, I remember once my friend in England, when we got, he was then decided to come back to Nigeria. And he got a top job. So he went back to England. And so he was in England with he hadn't brought his family. So I went to see him in his house. So his wife said, can you please just move the dustbin and put it in this place? He looked at his wife, he said, see how they talk to me here. I live in Ikoyi. I have 4 cars. So the people are, see how they are disrespecting me. Now, the issue is that, but to her, nobody else is around to move the garbage. You better carry it to the back there. But in Nigeria, they had people around. Do you get what I'm saying here? So you have all the support structure around. Suddenly things change. And then you are just, all right, alone, both of you inside the house. In fact, COVID was even the worst. Because the people that will go out with friends and stay around, do guys, night out, all of them were inside the house. Frustration setting. All right? So you have got to be adaptable, and there will be changes that will happen. Even a person simply getting a job. I mean, I know somebody in church here. I mean, she's brilliant. She was in church. She went to University of Chicago, top Ivy League school. From Ivy League school, she got a job in Amazon. Top job. From there, I mean, America, she got Best Buy. Best Buy is a massive operation. She got married. The guy was in church here, married, went to America. couldn't, and he was a consulting guy here. Let me not consult. I've said enough. Real top consulting guy in Lagos. God, of course, couldn't fit in, so he had to go and do masters. All right. In fact, this is it. We're to open a church in September in that area. So I was just about to tell. I know who the pastor will be. That they're going to help in assisting. Until she just told me, said, I've moved to Boston. Why? Said because my husband got a placement in MIT, and that's how he can enter into her life. She had bought a house where she was. Her life changed. But she was adaptable. She talked to the people in the office. They said, all right, you can still walk from Boston here. She changed. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Now, once you are not adaptable as a person or flexible as a person, then, all right, there is going to be, all right, which means flexible in your approach to things, knowing that the way you see things and the way you have taught things should be is not the only way it can be. And it's not the way it must be. Are you following what I'm saying? Because people come and say, that's the only way it's more. And you say, as a single, what God does is that he exposes you to challenging situations where he wants you as a single person to learn, all right, to be adaptable. Now, you can avoid it, but that's what he's trying to learn you to do, which means you will have to reinvent yourself. You have to learn how to reinvent yourself. If you're going to be successful in marriage, you have to learn how to reinvent yourself because you will be changing. So at work, they may give you opportunities to reinvent yourself so that you master the art of reinvention. That's what you do as single, which means you know how to reinvent. They gave you a target out of your comfort zone. God is training you so that you reinvent yourself. So what that does to you is that you're adaptable. Listen, when you meet with such people and you even have challenges and you talk to them about it, now we're saying this person is kind, then you have a challenge situation, you meet this person and you have a discussion with that person, let's say on a date, and that person throws ideas, shares with you how to change, and shows you how they reinvent and they adapt it. But look, things are not, it's not one way fix all. And begins to say those things. Those are qualities that you say about this person that you say, I would like to have this person in my corner. This is somebody that knows, all right, how to adapt. All right, it is not that this is how it is, this is how it has to be, all right, till Jesus Christ come, because there'll be changes. All right? Learning communication. And that's where you begin to learn flexibility, how to communicate. In other words, and that's what happens there. You experience frustration as a single person at work because you said something, they turned it down, and you are saying, and you can spiritualize it, you can do all kinds of things. But what God is trying to tell you is that the way you said it is not right. Learn, all right, how to talk. This is a quality you develop. And he uses places where you are, church, office there, family, to put pressure on you so that you can learn these skills here, which are very important, all right, in doing it. Being able to tolerate differences there and negotiation. In other words, how do I negotiate, all right, this particular thing? I mean, I'm a pastor, I can command inside my house, but there are some times that I want to travel. I know this travel, I'm going here. She will not like this movement too much. So I will negotiate. And say, don't you think that we should go to so and so place? Oh yeah. Then you're happy. When you're happy, then tomorrow I'll say, hey, when I come back, then I will have to. It's negotiation. All right? You can get up and say, the will of God is the will of God is the will of God. God spoke to me. I should go into the nations of the earth. But you will leave somebody unhappy. So you can get what you want to still get, all right, without having to create chaos. All right? Now, you must understand, and you have to learn this, because no man having tasted the new old wine straight away desires the new. They say the old is always what? Better. People find it difficult to reinvent themselves. All right? So, for example, let me just take something like relocation there. So my time is up there. Relocation there, in terms of you being adaptable and flexible, and you'll develop those skills, you know straight away. All right, before we go, and this is what the issues are. you have a plan, all right? You find out, because some people get there, let's just assume, and this is what causes the problem, because they don't know how to do those things. So they don't have job for 7 months. Why you don't have job for 7 months? You know, I mean, you don't, I mean, so you don't. And people just, but once you understand adaptability and these things, then you know that, look, to get into these kind of things, first of all, let us even find out which area we will live. Let's investigate this. And internet here, how do we do this? What type of schools, all right? I mean, a friend of mine just went there, and when they got to the school, she said the first thing they told them inside the school was that, look, this is what we teach the children. In biology, they can change their sex at any given time. So you begin to find out. Look, I went to show you, and people don't, you know, when you are not flexible and you don't understand these things. I went to Canada once, and it just so happened it was their Memorial Day, National Day, and all the Canadians, they will come to this place, and they all stand and they were playing the anthem and everybody. So I was just walking past and I saw it. And I was intrigued. Let me see this people's culture. And I stood with them, you know, and they were playing. And then they would shout in a way. You two would shout in a way. Do you know, I looked around. There was no black person. They were at home. They are still living like a Nigerian in, why? Come back here then. You see, this is what causes things like causes undue pressure. When you understand adaptability, you know how to assimilate into, move into other places, blend, read, do what they do. All right? That's what we'll talk about, being adaptable as a person. Number 3, because of time, let me go. Financial sufficiency, please. Male or female, you shouldn't be a financial liability to anybody. That should be your decision. You hear what I said? Listen. Urban area, 2023. Husband go hard. If you are taking off financial liability and giving it to him, that's a major problem. Do you understand what I'm saying? I know you are not happy. I'm not saying a man may not take care of you, but have earning power. Didn't you read in the Bible? 7 women will take hold of one man's garment and say, listen, don't worry, just let us have your name. We will buy our clothes. We will do our hair ourselves. What are they trying to say? As the days begin to go further, men will begin to pull out of any kind of financial liability. Do you get what I'm saying here? Have your earning. So that, listen. Even this thing of submission, it is the woman that has means and ends. That when she says, I honor my husband, the husband knows it's true or not. Are you following what I'm saying here? If he's buying everything for you, what choice do you have to take before God do honor? So before you show true honor, that is really humility, is when somebody has. Do you get what I'm saying here? And then they now show that, you know that, this is a good, if people say, you married a good woman. Woman that is CEO of a bank coming to meet you like this. God helps you. But if she doesn't have anything, she just sits at home, watches Netflix, spends your money. Of course, when you show up, what else are you going to, are you following what are you going to do here? So please, seek as much, which means improve yourself. As I'm telling you the truth, you may not want to know, okay? That's what's making many men run. All right? I'm not saying a man will not spend, if the kind of person will not spend money, but at least, he knows on the inside of himself and it is there. And you can do little things in the house to show appreciation. I heard Pastor Kawushika say, he said, look, women don't get this here. That a guy gets home and says, oh, what happened? Just says, oh, I bought the diesel for the generator. That it goes a long way. Men are under pressure. Are you following what I'm saying here? There's pressure in the atmosphere for men. Men are going through a lot. It's just that they can't say it. And any small relief, look, you can't now go into a relationship and then there's now, as the country says, there's enough. But you now carry pressure on yourself. And he won't say it. Because he's a man. Because a man can't be crying. There's been taught not to cry. You understand what I'm saying? So at least I'm telling you this, if you are kind, I'm telling you here, you're a kind person, you're an adaptable person there, you see that there's flexibility, then you at least have your own, all right, earning power there, which means there's a skill that you have there that you can use, you've developed, and you have your own earning power there, right? I mean, look at Proverbs 31. In fact, one lady told me once in school, she after I finished reading Proverbs 31, what else is left for the man to do when the woman has done all of this? So, a Proverbs 31 virtuous woman is an industrious person. Is a woman of industry, is a woman that can sit down if the husband has, let's say, has a challenge. I mean, as a friend of mine, her husband was going through a challenge in business. He said, look, just hold it. Let me call somebody here that will tell us how to do this. She's resourceful. She brings resources there to the table there. All right. And of course, as a man, I mean, this is, you can, I mean. All right. Don't go and be an entrepreneur. I said, I have my own business. I've got to follow my call. I can't be a 9 to 5 following the vision of somebody else. I'm a slave. And then you have no earning power. Do you get what I'm saying here? Look, women know if you sponsor a man, he has no earning power. You are the one sponsoring everything. Let me tell you, sponsoring everything, buying everything. You see, when you talk inside the house, you say you are disrespecting him. You will be surprised that he will go and meet some silly small girl on the road somewhere who is respecting him with the money you are giving to him. Are you following what I'm saying here? I'm telling you, you just end up financing side chicks. So. Because that's where he's getting respect. Oga, how are you? Because it's your own car he's driving. Those ones think it's his car. But you know it is your car. So there's not so much he can say to you. Are you following what I'm saying? You won't hear. All right. Lastly, because of time, I would have said appearance too is part of it. All right. Okay. Look very good. Look very stylish. But look responsible as a person. Are you following what I'm saying here? You don't have to be showing everything. Look, but be very stylish. Show your identity in your dressing, in the way you dress. You are put together very well as a person there. Okay? All right. But you don't have to. All right. Then the last one, of course, is emotional health. And emotional health, okay, which is where the 5 symptoms where there's no real emotional health. The symptoms of it will be addictions, anger management, all right, which means they have anger issues, all right, overtly attached to parents emotionally, that interferes with the marriage, self-absorption, which means you don't listen to others, and serious mood swings. Now, the basic root cause of these things is the inability of an individual to confront the challenges of their own lives. So don't avoid challenges when they come into your space. Don't blame anybody else for the challenge. Don't play the victim card as a person. All right? Make sure that I'm going to solve this problem. And as you personally begin to solve your problems, all this thing of anger, you yourself will learn that I complicated issues by the way I spoke. So that person, as I'm talking about a single person, as you're doing that now, you begin to learn how to manage your emotions as you are resolving issues. All right, you will learn certain things as a person. You take responsibility for your own life and you develop. So if you look into these 5 areas that we've just touched on, kindness, all right, being adaptable there, which means that, but you have your core issue, you're not compromising as a person. This is between me and my God, my relationship with my God. But in terms of positioning yourself correctly there, right, for marriage there, developing qualities of kindness, developing qualities there of adaptability and flexibleness there. Because as a guy, all right, you may have had a dream that you had, but the woman who is right for you just so happens that she doesn't cook very well. And you may be angry, but God may have seen it fit to give you a woman that doesn't cook very well because you need a fasted life to fulfill. You are laughing at what I say. What I'm telling you is very true and divine. You need a fasted that if they are cooking all that food, you will miss out on what God has planned for you. So you just eat little things and taste little things. And so once in a while you go, are you following what I'm saying here? But adaptability also means that, look, it also means, I mean, that could be true, but it also means that the issue at hand is that you want to eat good food. Okay? And there are many people that can be paid to cook best food in the world for you. Do you get what I'm saying here? Now, if the problem now becomes no, it has to be my wife that cooks that best food for me, then you need to find out what is the reason why it should be my wife that cooks it for me. You may just find out that it's a family tradition from your great-great-grandfather who had a discussion in the village back then that those circumstances no longer hold. Are you following what I'm saying here? And that is what you are just holding on, all right, too. So there's adaptability here, your ability, and it's a very, all right, to change and say, don't worry about it, I'll move my plans here, I'll do this, I'll tell somebody I'll do this, to try to accommodate and make sure, all right, that. But you should also understand in this, well, let's leave that, okay? But the adaptability, and then we also spoke about financial, all right, independence here. Okay, if you're a man and a young person, if you're still a young person here, don't go and start entrepreneurship if you don't have the skill to be an entrepreneur. There's nothing wrong in working somewhere to understand skill and to do all of that so that you don't put yourself in a position where, all right, the woman now has to carry the burden because there are many women breadwinners who are going through a lot. And this is because of the recklessness of men, when I say recklessness now, who are not being responsible, all right, for their own space. So make sure you do have earning power. Or even if your dream, like if you say you want to be a businessman, no problem, but be adaptable. If your dream is that you want to be this and be that, while the dream is, you are pursuing the dream, if taking yam from Benue and bringing it to Lagos to sell will put money in your pocket, carry, as you are dreaming, go to Benue, bring yam, sell in Lagos. At least you are not doing 9 to 5 because you cannot be 9 to 5. You can't be a slave to another man's dream. At least you're not a slave to another man's dream. But if you now say, no, I can't carry yam, that is beneath me. Do you get what I'm saying? It has to be then you are complicating, all right, issues there. If these things are in place in your life, I'm telling you that you can see your own self, that it won't be hard for you, not only to find somebody, but also, you get what I'm saying? Because if a man is walking up to a lady after this meeting now to talk to her, he has gauged her now. He wants to go and talk to her after. And as he's going there, she just picks up she's on the phone while he was going and waited. I said, you are stupid. You are mad. I'm telling you, you are mad to the center of your being. It will just turn. All the chemical reaction will just dissolve. That's, when you neutralize the acid. It's called all the acid thing that is going, just neutralize it. He will be calm and go. That's what we call covering. You follow what I'm saying here? Or you are even on a queue to buy things and somebody's like, what nonsense are you saying? What? Then you know that. So it's these little things here. That's someone say, but I was good. Those things, all right, count for something. God bless you all.
Okay, Pastor, the first question we have here says, I've been dating a lady for about 5 months, and we both see marriage in view. But as much as I'm vocal with her about my affection, she's quite private, and it is draining my emotional bank. So not only financial bank account they drain. What can I do, sir? Okay, I've been dating a lady for about 5 months, and we both see marriage in view. But as much as I'm vocal with her about my affection, she's quite private, and it's draining my emotional bank. What can I do?
You're saying she doesn't express her love.
Pastor,
is that what the
that's
person
what the person says, not me.
I'll have to ask more questions.
Sorry, if you ask this question and sincerely
No, it might be with the person. Okay, it can't be with the person, Chap. Ask it again. Let me.
you people are.
All right, so they are together 5 months to getting married.
No, they've been dating for 5 months.
Oh, just 5 months.
Yes, sir. But they have marriage. Marriage is their goal, their focus.
And she's non-expressive, emotionally speaking. So what's he supposed to do?
Yeah, he says his emotional bank is draining day by day. It's depleting seriously. It should be a national issue.
Okay, if the emotional bank, once it gets into, what's it, red, Abby? Red. When it's empty and it's finished, then the relationship will be over. But to be honest, there's a reason why she's non-expressive. All right? It could either be childhood trauma. She may have suffered things in the past, or may have suffered particularly rejection in the past, such that she's afraid, all right, of expressing emotions. If that is the case, then, which is probably what is the situation, all right, then you have to do an additional work of savior. Are you following what I'm saying? Work of salvation. In other words, find out things about her, pray for her. Even if the relationship will not work, as a friend, that you will help her in the recovery process to get out of that emotional state and be more of a wholesome person. So don't look at it. If you're going to help somebody, don't look at it as, I want to marry this woman. Because once you do that, then the way you look at that person is different. But if you look at the person that, all right, let me even say we are not doing relationship. In my back of my head, though, all right, not that you tell her, but in the back of your head, let's even say we are not doing the relationship again. I don't just want to walk away from this person. This person probably is a good person and has certain qualities. So let me find out how I can help her. And so start praying for her. Start reading up on it to find out. Read books. That's part of to develop yourself, which is self-development for you also as a person, and try as much as possible. When you stop looking at it as, I'm invested in this thing because I want to marry this person, then you are more likely, all right, to help her in that process better, all right, as a friend, even if it will not end up in marriage there, all right. But don't walk away from the situation multiplying the rejection. Are you following what I'm saying? Because it can get worse for that person. Huh?
Thank you, Pastor. So you've heard. Don't worry, your emotional bank will be okay. Help her to help you. Praise God. So that was a guy's question. So we'll take a lady.
So the first question is, what's your counsel for young people who are in a relationship about counseling and mentorship? Because I've seen situations where some people were not counseled and they were not mentored, but they eventually had a great marriage, and some marriages that went through counseling and mentorship failed. So sometimes when I look at case studies, it kind of gets me confused. So what's your counsel, sir?
You're asking me. You have answered your question. You've answered your question. You said some people were cancelled and there was mentorship and it failed. Some people were not cancelled and there was no mentorship.
And they thrived.
And it's success. So what's the question? So what do I think?
What's now the most...
That person you said, they weren't cancelled and they weren't mentored. What you are saying is they weren't cancelled and mentored formally. They were cancelled and mentored, most especially at home. Because your parents counsel and mentor, you have conversations as a child. Mentoring is modeling things to you. It's not just in speech. So the way to go about relationship may have been modeled to them as a young person. They may have seen things and seen that, which helped in forming and molding their lives. All right? And you can say that you have a mentor and you may not be truthful to the mentor. And you can say that you went for counseling, but you are not honest about who you really are to the counselor. So those things do have their limitations, except the person involved there is open, all right? I mean, I know many people, even in ministry, who say things, who are in it for social reasons, not for transformation or change of behavior, all right, in terms of mentoring there. So when you say there was no mentoring, all right, there was mentoring, but it wasn't the formal kind that you were talking about. Because there is nothing as powerful as a role model when you are a child that shapes your belief system, all right? So like I told you, when somebody asked me that, can an elderly woman marry a younger man? Because as a child, I saw it. This as a child now, 4 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old. It shaped certain things on the inside of me that nobody ever told me physically, but it's when you ask me and I sit down and I think about it, that I will say that. Okay? All right.
Thank you. So we'll take the young man.
My question is just straight. Like, I'm this very fun person when we are.
Please speak up. Please speak up. Thank you.
I'm this very fun person when we are friends. Like, we are very good, but immediately we are pushing it to relationship. I'm always the issue. Like,
Fashion time. He's very honest. It's not you.
No,
it's
just
me.
let him ask. Finish.
my conversation level just drops down.
I know what you're saying.
I'm the one breaking it.
I know what you're saying.
And it's always like that. I don't know why.
I know what you're saying. That's why I was telling the first person that they should pull out of relationship mindset and go back into just friendly mindset in order to help the lady. All right? Because what's happening is that you're a good person, all right? So you relate freely. But, you know, once you get into that frame of, I want to marry, or is this the person? You can overthink it. You can overanalyze it. And if you get married that way, what will happen is that probably for the first 2 years, there may be tension inside the marriage. But if you can break away from that and go back into that your friendly space, it will be fun, all right, between both of you if he survives those 2 years of that tension. So what you should just, is just that, risky. When I say risky here, the issue is that okay, things change when you formally say, will you come into relationship with me? Isn't that what it is? And as you say, will you, and she says yes, then it changes.
I will start missing calls.
You won't pick the call.
It's not you, it's me.
I don't want to say something because I don't want guys to go and use it. But continue being friends. Then when it's just be a friend of the person. And then one day just get up and say, in 2 months we're getting married.
2 months we're getting married. Wow.
That's it. Are you following me here? That formal is creating, you get what I'm saying here? Because if you're friends, then that means you're compatible. That means you enjoy your, but the risk for you too is that the girl too can say to you, you didn't talk now, I'm already dating somebody else and we're already engaged. Then you get hot and say, you didn't tell me. But, you know. Well, that's the only way to go around or else you go for therapy. Where somebody sits down or get somebody to help you through that process when it happens. Because you're thinking many things. I mean, if a girl is wearing attachment worth 100,000 and she's your friend, you don't know. If you say, I'm going to marry you, and she says, well, I bought this thing 120, to you, that's your bill. So it can create, so Just be doing friends until, and then set wedding date and marry. Eh? Okay.
Thank you, Pastor. Okay. Pastor said you. Yes.
Okay. Good morning, Pastor. Good afternoon, Pastor. So my question is, how do you identify a narcissist? And if you're dating a narcissist, what should you do? And if you're a narcissist that has been identified, what does the person do? Should you just give up on the idea of getting married or something? Because everybody's now trying to avoid narcissists. So 3 questions in one.
So,
Thank you, sir.
number 1, the answer is, since you are dating a narcissist, that's why you're asking. No. Number 2, or you know somebody dating. Number 2, it is very, very difficult and risky to change somebody who's suffering from narcissism if you're in a relationship with a person. Because your admittance to be in relationship with a person, as far as that person is concerned, at subconscious level, is you have accepted me the way I am. All right? And once that person is like that, that person believes that, last, we're going to go ahead with it. And people that are like that usually are still like that because they have gotten away with it with everybody in their past. And so any behavior towards that person that allows you or that person to continue a relationship endorsing that behavior, as far as that person is concerned, you are enabling that person. And it is hell to be married to a narcissist, depending on how bad it is. It is hell. This is a person that doesn't have the capacity to understand how somebody else is feeling. That's a dangerous zone to be. Okay? My mother used to tell me when I was young that there are some type of people that the species should be out of the world, that nobody should marry them. They should just allow it to go. But when you find a person with chronic narcissism, it's not they don't have capacity to feel what the other person is feeling. It's just not there. All right? They just cannot feel it. Even if a person is going through pain, they just don't have the capacity to feel it. And it's terrible. It's been a hell, all right, on the earth. So I don't think anybody should put yourself into a place of experiment to solve somebody's problem with your own life. You can help the person, but, all right, it's from, all right, a desire. I mean, I know a guy who used to be my friend who was like that. And the way people are like that, anything happens, you are going to take the blame for it. Even if they are drinking and they are onto drugs and you are in their life, you are the one that made them start doing the drugs. That's how they see it, which is bad. So it's not, I won't advise any woman or man to get married to someone who suffers from narcissism. Because they just don't have the capacity to feel anything. All right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So I think we should take the gentleman in white.
So I'm taking one more question.
Yes.
Who is that?
This is the last person.
Okay, I'll take your own because you
Yeah.
can stand. I'll take yours.
Yes, sir.
Where is the okay, yeah.
I celebrate you, Pastor.
Yes.
Pastor, my question is actually 2 in 1. So the first one is, how do you manage a situation whereby your partner feels that the princess in her is more than the adult in her? I will explain that. Okay, so how I explain that in code is that Okay, so for instance, she feels that, she always feels that as a man, you need to do anything or whatever it takes to keep her. Like, she feels that she is special, which she is. So therefore, you as a man needs to do whatever it takes, even if she's messing up, to keep her. And she doesn't feel that you're special indirectly. So that's where I'm coming from. That she feels that the princess in her.
Wait, are you saying she doesn't feel you as special?
Exactly.
So that's an abusive relationship.
That's the first question, sir. But it's connected. So the second question is, what do you do when your partner never said sorry? For I will bring it personal to myself. So personal relationship. Where it's complicated is that your partner has basically 90% of the qualities you are looking forward to for a partner. And then she's missing out just this one thing is she never says sorry. And you have tried times with that number.
If she has 90% of what you are looking for and it's just that she doesn't say sorry, that's not an issue. Okay, be saying the sorry to yourself. If what you are saying is correct too, that she has 90% of what it is and she doesn't say sorry, say the sorry to yourself. If what you are saying is correct, 90%, all right? The other one of, if it's the same person, wait now, if it's the same person that is a princess but not an adult, that is also not saying sorry, then I don't think the person has 90% of what you are looking for. But if they are two separate people, then it's okay. But here is I've said this thing about, here is the law about relationships. Look, if inside the relationship, everybody has deal breakers. To you, it may be a deal breaker. To somebody else, it may not be a deal breaker. If something is a deal breaker to you, which means it is very important to you as a person. For example, there are men that believe their wives should not work and that it is their duty to take care of their wives. And that belief system under God is what make them prosper because they have done it that way. There are some people that are not like that. What I'm trying to say is that if you are not like that you don't see it at all like that, then you are not compatible. But she's not wrong in what she's saying, and you are not wrong in what you are saying. Do you get what I'm saying here? Okay? But if it's this same person that is not saying I'm sorry, then you are not correct in saying 90% of what she has.
Okay, thank you, Pastor. But
because you are now in an abusive relationship.
I have a but in it.
What?
It's personal. Like, to me, I feel it's easy to say I can work with. There are certain things I feel I can work with in a relationship, but that sorry aspect, for instance.
So it's a deal breaker for you?
No, if it's a general problem or it's just me. Because, for instance, imagine in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks, your partner has indirectly offended you, but in other ways, she still feels that, if you don't go to apologize or like to be the one to say sorry, you guys will not amend indirectly. So it keeps happening and over, which is, I don't know. So I just feel that the sorry aspect is a problem, and it's a major one. I don't know. That's my own view.
So
Calm down.
You want me to authorize you to leave the relationship? It looks like this is what you are looking for. That you go and say, Pastor said I should leave. Okay, I've explained to you. I can't authorize you to leave. If it's a deal breaker, if you are emotionally abused and you can't take it, fine. All right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir. Please permit me, as the last one standing, to have two questions. Sir.
Please speak up.
I'm taking one. Just first one you say is our answer.
Okay, so with regards to kindness.
Yes.
Yes. If you have somebody who is genuinely kind, yes, but based on previous experiences, there has been an experience with a certain person, yes, or certain types of people who have been, who have taken advantage of that form of kindness of that person, and the person is now therefore taking a stand in that position. And to those certain people, it may seem to be, the reactions may seem to be unkind. So let's say, for instance, someone grew up in a home where as the way African parents are in general, it's my way, it's this way, and then the person has always been accommodating and taking, but has been pushed to the wall and then is now becoming their own person, an individual. So in relationship with that person, with those parents, it may seem that, the person is now, quote unquote, rebelling. And interactions to stand up for oneself may be seen as being unkind to those certain people. And in those instances, it plays out as if the person is unkind, but the person is actually genuinely kind towards people in general. In that kind of instance, what would be the advice to not, so, because what will happen is that when the spouse or when the intending spouse interacts with that person in that sort of phase, it may look like a bit sketchy. I don't know if you understand
What do you mean by sketchy?
It may look, that the person is reacting in such a way that is perceived as unkind in those settings, but the person has seen the person genuinely kind in other and multiple interactions. But in this particular case, the person is seeming unkind. Would that be a deal breaker, for instance, for that person? Or how would that...
Okay, but you're talking about a situation where this relationship is not yesterday. It's been going on for a while. And the lady has accommodated the guy's behavior in that way for a while. She's now standing up for herself. Is that what you're saying now?
So it's not even the guy.
Uh-huh.
So let's say family relationships versus now an intending spouse. So there's a family.
Oh.
So to certain people in the family, the person may seem to be standing up for oneself, and then
but how does the guy see it, and what is his relationship with his family?
That's my question. How is it that how can it be managed in the sense that the person does not seem unkind? So you gave an example where when people go out and then the way that they react with the waiter, the way that they react with, so those are signals. So the person has seen the intended spouse.
I get what you're saying, but the point I'm trying to get is, what is the person's position with their family? Is there a lot of intrusiveness that comes from the family?
Is there a lot of
intrusiveness into his decision making? Do you get what I'm saying? If you get married to the guy, will the family have an overbearing influence on him and on the house?
Okay. Sorry. Let me. I'm very sorry. Let me paint the picture well. So So let's say, okay, so for
instance, how long is the relationship?
Let's take...
How long is the relationship?
No, so there's
there's
no existing relationship on ground now.
Then I can't answer a hypothetical question.
No, it's not a hypothetical question.
How long is the relationship? Answer.
It's not a hypothetical question.
How long is the relationship?
There's no existing current relationship.
There's none?
Yes.
No,
but my question, sir...
Okay, so you come and meet...
You are giving me a consultancy job on something that is not a problem. Headache, look, if there's no... Because all these things count. How many years they've been in it, and all of that, to understand what is at play, all right, in it. Okay? Because you are painting a lot of pictures, and there's no detail. So, if there's no existing relationship, we shouldn't bother. If it's a review of a relationship that broke up, then it's a different thing. All right? But what I would just advise from what you are saying is that don't pretend to be somebody you are not, to enter into something, then to now show your true color. If you feel me asking questions about this will be a threat to the relationship, and then you say, let me drop it, and then you go in, and then when you are in, you now use it, all right, bring it up, then you put yourself in a very difficult position, particularly if that thing is a fundamental thing for you as a person, all right? But let me just say this in general terms. your question did not require that you mentioned that the person was kind. There's an issue. It has nothing to do with whether the person is kind or not. Because the person may not be kind, the person may be kind. Okay? So your question, you didn't need, all right, to say that the person was kind. That's why I'm saying that the real thing inside that question is not being said. The matter that is there, which is why I asked you how many years, where it is. Because it wasn't needed for you to say, this person is a kind person. Because if a person is a kind person, everybody will know that this person is kind. And a kind person is very likable, particularly when it comes to issues of family. Because the person will be very innovative in terms of how they go about things. Even things that the person who is the family member may not have thought about, that person who is the spouse, whether man or woman, will make suggestions concerning that thing and show traits concerning that thing that will show the family that this person is a very kind person. And in many cases, they take up the fight of that person on top of their own child. You get what I'm saying? They become the defender of that person where it is. If the kindness is listen, in the law of the Torah, which is the Hebrew writers, the law of divinity is called kindness. In other words, the first manifestation of the divine nature of God in the human soul is kindness. And they say wherever there is darkness, acts of kindness always release the light of God from the spirit of that person to dispel the darkness. So kindness is a very powerful thing. All right? Yeah, I know I'm saying it's a very powerful thing. Where kindness is in operation, all right, what will happen is that, in fact, the loyalty of the family, that's the in-law, switches to that person over and above, where they protect, all right, that person and kind of call their son, all right. I remember once when my brother was was studying on getting married, and so my mother now looked at him and she said to him, well, you may be posing because women are looking for husbands, so you can be saying this and that. I heard her say this to him. She said, as much as it's difficult for a woman, you may say, to find a husband, it is equally or more difficult for a man to find a good woman. And that when you meet a good woman, so when they talk about good woman now, which means that, because even the Bible says that fathers may give money and gold, but a virtuous woman is from the Lord. That's inheritance. So when a person is kind that way and has that kind of character, it's a very powerful thing. All right? Probably the situation you are talking about will not arise. All right? That's what I'm saying. Kindness will take care of that kind, all right, of situation. And a kind person is not a person who is a doormat. All right? Which is why we talked about the other qualities, about emotional health, about earning. Because when a person goes through all of that, they know the difference between kindness and enablement of bad behavior. So it is a kind act, right, for you not to enable a person to continue in their ways that is self-destructive, all right, to that particular person. Okay? So kindness is not like you're a fool, all right? It's your disposition. And it has nothing to do with the person that you are showing the kindness to. That's your nature, and that's the way you go about it. Huh? God bless you all.
Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you, Pastor.
Do we want to appreciate Pastor Poju? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.